everybody. This is Rich from the Metal Cell podcast. I got a special episode for you tonight. It's a Siege special. I've got John from Bad Reputation and the Siege. Hi, John.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, always great to have you. And I've got Steve from Grey Stag. Cheers, Steve.
Hey, guys.
Good to have you on board. And my usual co-hosts, Evan and Danielle. How are we, lads?
All good. All good.
You might notice that the background has changed through technical issues, but of course, that would happen on the 200th episode of the show. So cheers, lads, anyway.
That's looks cool, though.
Happy 200.
Yeah.
Happy 200, yes.
You don't look a day over 100.
It's a nice... It's nice the way it's coming out the weekend of the Siege as well, and it's nice to spend it with people that I admire greatly. So thanks for joining on the show, lads.
Am I right in saying, Richie, that there was only like 1 or 2 weeks that you didn't put one out or something?
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. Oh yeah, I was on holidays, I think.
Yeah.
It's not a bad excuse, really. I'm entitled to them. But yeah, so
200 is that like maybe 3-4 years now? Is it 4?
2019 it started, John. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And so it's not including promos and stuff like that. It's officially probably 207 or 8, you know. But
do you hate it yet?
He hates all of us.
I hate technology. How about that? That's a fair enough answer. I hate technology more than anything else, because like if I have all the right tools and I'm able to work, I will work, no problem. But when technology is just being fucking hard to deal with, that stresses me out, and it kind of tends to fucking ruin interviews. As well, it didn't ruin that one too much, was it? Peter Humphreys with God?
No, I think it flowed well anyway.
Yeah. Danielle stepped up to the mark, man. Fair play to you for that. I was just so fucking stressed right through that.
Sure, Pete's a legend as well. Like, he's so sound. Yeah.
Well, sure, lucky you have all the right fucking tools here now, anyway.
4 fine tools, huh?
Yes. But enough about the show. We'll just go maybe to your respective bands, Evan and Steve. Both of you are obviously playing the Siege. Are you ready for it? Says Steve, you go first, man.
Yeah. Like, can't wait. I think last Siege you played, it was the 2019 one. It was like still one of my, I think, standout gigs of like, that was the first time I'd felt that like, oh shit, yeah, kind of getting it now, getting there. So I can't wait for this one. We had a gig last week, Grand Social, again, first time I played there, so come back to Siege, and then Belfast the week after, so we got a nice run of gigs.
Nice.
We've been practicing hard, and we're fitting in 1 or 2 surprises.
Ah, class.
Deadly.
So am I presuming that it's going to be mostly a new set?
Mostly
new
set.
songs?
Yeah, good. 1 or 2 old songs. We might also fit in a cover if we get it sorted out during the week at practice. First time we're going to fit in one.
Lily Allen.
Few ballads.
We're more of a Lady Gaga. House and Grey Stag.
What a fucking giggy.
Evan, have you decided on your set list?
Yeah, we know what we're doing. We're going to fucking shoot to kill anyway. It's the last day of like a 3-day tour.
Yeah.
We have Below the Neck and Lure In coming over from the UK, Scotland and Manchester respectively. But yeah, we're absolutely buzzing. Like I think this would be the 3rd Siege that we'll have played, and within each Siege we'll have played a different stage. So it's kind of like the Siege is will never get boring for any band to play, but it's nice to have like a different perspective for each time. We've had 2 p.m, we've had like 7 p.m, and now the midnight slot. So I think we're just ready to kind of like shoot to kill, don't fuck around kind of thing. Like,
yeah, and it's nice that you're hitting it after what is it, Dublin and Belfast, or is it? Oh no, Cork. It's Cork.
Yeah, Cork. This is out on Friday, but
correct.
Like the day of the gig, it'll 100% sell out, and then Dublin, and then the Siege. So I feel like it's going to be a nice. Won't be the last gigs we play for the year, but yeah, feeling very. It's I don't know, it feels like a kind of like a weird milestone tour for us. I feel like there's some kind of like pendulum turning a certain way for us. So I think finishing on the Siege is quite special for us anyway.
Yeah. John, how does that work in relation to getting those 3 bands in?
Well,
Happy
I suppose
coincidence?
no. Conversations with Evan have, I suppose, increased dramatically since 2019, and over COVID, and I suppose in no small part to this podcast, we kind of would chat a good deal more. So he's been talking about this package for a while, coming over, and I guess he has a strong kinship with the bands he's bringing. Yeah. So like if you get in early with me, if you kind of put it on my radar early, there's never really an issue if it's feasible. And he's always been very realistic about, I feel like I'm giving him a job.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like giving you a review. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's always been very realistic with what he's looking for these things. And I think that probably is no small part down to the fact that he's now doing the promoting thing as well. He knows the score. So it's a great package to have. And as a genre of music, that those type of bands together spread out throughout the day will kind of, I suppose, inject a bit of energy.
Absolutely.
We have received, I suppose, minor criticism in the past for having lots of doom and death metal and stuff. So it's nice that there's kind of going to be this kind of injection of high octane bleached head Evan throughout the day at points. So
I think a hardcore band.
The dog started barking. Yeah, I know. Fucking as well.
Hardcore band at midnight will definitely wake people up as opposed to doom.
Yeah, it worked really well with Baylor at the last one. And I didn't want to rewrite the script, so it worked. It really does kind of reinvigorate everyone, and then they're ready for the disco afterwards. So
Bit of bopping.
Yeah.
And any other, I suppose there'll always be stresses coming up to the gig, John. But at the moment, you're happy enough with the way things are going, yeah?
Yeah, I suppose I'm waiting for like things have always go wrong. New things go wrong all the time, but we're doing it so long now that it's almost like muscle memory with lots of it, and parts of it kind of fall into place. But then you have the usual, I suppose, some of the cogs are rusty. Like we haven't had a free in one since 2019, so there is lots of nerves around that. You can't judge the volume. When we had tickets, you knew exactly how many are coming. So like this could be absolutely beautiful chaos. Okay. But like there is a certain amount of trepidation about how many people are going to show up. But we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Everything else though, behind the scenes is kind of moving at the regular pace. I try not to get too stressed about it. I used to get really stressed, and then I was like, why am I getting stressed about doing something I really love? And I guess that's why I did get stressed, because I wanted to come out the way it comes out. But I do think there's going to be a whole new pile of new Siege fans at this.
That's really good news.
Yeah, I'm getting loads of questions that I haven't gotten in years. That I was like, I thought people knew this, but there's been an entire generation switch, so there is people definitely coming to this one that have never been to one, so this will be their first experience.
That's really exciting to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a sign we're all getting older as well, so I just thought I'd say it in a nicer way.
It's even that thing of, during the pandemic, I know I've said it before in the podcast, that like there was people that were too young to go to gigs, and then when they had that time, like over the 2 years, we'll say, like, to start getting into like heavier music for the first time, and then finding Irish bands and doing it. And, like now they might just be like 18, 19, quite young. So like the more of them that feel comfortable going, knowing that somewhere like the Siege is not like, I've never had like any experience of kind of gatekeepy kind of bullshit with the Siege. The Siege always had that kind of all-inclusive mentality towards it. So it's great to hear that there is people that are asking questions that you would think are common knowledge, but it's new people coming in that are doing their first Siege, and the hope of many more, obviously.
Yeah. Like the Siege is beyond Kieran and I now. It's it's its own thing, like it's an entity in itself. And I know that sounds like a very hippy dippy thing to say, but there's so many people invested in it.
Yeah.
As both as in a music capacity for their band and as a day out for them and their friends to meet up, that it needs to keep happening. And like we still have love for it, but but behind the scenes becomes easier because you realize that there is so much love for it that you're not trying to, I suppose, win people over.
Yeah.
You've already won them over.
Yeah.
You've already won them over, and you're just trying to, I suppose, continue to celebrate what's going on. And look, Ireland is full of begrudgers, and they exist, but I've rarely had much begrudgement. Much small bits every now and again for the siege, and that is a very rare and beautiful thing, I think. So
they can fuck off otherwise. Like
Danielle, what were you going to say there?
I was just going to say, there's these group of lads that I've been seeing actually, John, at like some of the bad rep gigs.
You've been seeing them all together, have you, Danielle?
Yeah, I was saying that. I was like, does he know? Or?
No. Yeah. But they're like always at the front. They're always having a great time. I went up and started chatting to them, thinking they were my age, and the way they were kind of, when I was chatting about some stuff and they weren't recognizing what I was saying about certain things, I was like, "Oh, what age are you?" And they were like, "Over 19," and I was like, oh God, I thought you're like 29. But it's great to see like the enthusiasm of these lads. And now that I'm thinking about it, they're 19. It's probably their first full siege that they're getting to go to.
I think I know the crowd. They're the crowd that were all covered in face paint at the last siege. They did the whole black metal face paint. There was a group of girls.
I saw them actually. Yeah.
There's a group of girls that did full black metal face paint, and that was their first siege. And they've actually been coming to loads of gigs since then, which has been fabulous. But yeah, there's loads of really that 18, 19-year-old, and thankfully we're family friendly again. So there'll be like 16, 17-year-olds seeing some heavy metal bands for the first time in the afternoon, which is great. That's why I never. Any band that's like, oh, will there be a crowd at like 2-3? I'm like, it's probably the best crowd at 2-3 because you get all those really enthusiastic young people like, oh my God, this is my first time seeing something at this level of intensity.
Of course, yeah.
We often talk about it as well. It's just the accommodation for a lot of people. That's going to be a struggle.
It's got bad. It's the worst it's ever. I know it's an Irish problem, but it's appalling in Limerick at the moment. I wish we had a better transport network. I do think it will affect some people coming. I do think there'll be a lot more sober drivers coming to this. But it's definitely kind of reaching a breaking point in Ireland. Like, I'm sure you've all tried to go to shows in Dublin, and it's nearly impossible to stay overnight. Yeah, unless you want to spend extortionate amounts of money on a shitty hotel. Mm-hmm. It's tough in Limerick. Thankfully, we're not clashing with any rugby matches this weekend on the Sunday.
That was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, we clashed with a rugby match. We really need a hostel in the city. We really need a late night bus network out of the city. Cork needs it too. Galway needs it too. There is a late night bus to Dublin, and if anyone is unaware of that, I know a lot of Dublin people don't know anything about the rest of the country. So there is a late night bus back to Dublin that runs nearly every 2 hours right through the night. So that does exist. But other cities
going to Cork at one stage, or maybe that was a train or something.
There used to be one, it's gone.
Yeah. Brought it back for the siege would be great.
Are you travelling up and down, Steve?
We're staying over.
Are you? Okay, cool.
Booked it once I found out it was paying, so I'm booking it now because I know the prices are going to go up.
Yeah, it went up. And plus the hotels are aware it's on now, so they do that whole competitive pricing thing, which is abhorrent.
Yes. But it's mad though, if you think about it, how much, if we say like we'll say going back to Baker's, like with the siege, where it's gotten to a level now that the hotels in Limerick are like, okay, well, there's going to be a load of fucking goths showing up twice a year. It's like we got to make them come here, and we got to fill our place with smelly goths rather than like not know what's going on at all. It kind of shows how much the siege is actually growing in Limerick, and how I'd be confident in saying like how much of a staple part it is for culture in general in Limerick. Like, if not
for alternative culture. I don't think it's just for metal, but it's for alternative culture.
Yeah, alternative culture. Yeah.
How much interaction would you have with maybe, I'll just say, a local council? Would they be aware of it, say, for example, John?
Yeah, they're good at putting it up on the Limerick.ie and everything like that, and they do ask me questions. Like I would have good interaction with them through my day job and stuff, but it does come up. Often it's retrospective. They'll ask me about stuff that's happened.
Okay.
There's that forward planning thing. Now, I'm not naive to the fact that I think often they're bringing it up in a kind of, you like heavy metal in a kind of a jokey way, but I always kind of treat the question seriously enough and kind of try and answer it. And any kind of, even if the question is ludicrously thick for somebody that's into the music to be answering, I will answer it with coherently. I had a brilliant interaction with somebody there recently where they know I put on loads of gigs and they know I go to loads of gigs, and they were like, "Oh, I take it you're going to Garrett Brooks." And I was like, "Oh no," I said, and I was trying to be nice to them. I went, "Oh no, I won't be going to that, no." And they genuinely went to me, "You're going to miss the greatest show that Ireland has ever had. I thought you were a music fan." And I went, I don't know about that. And I thought they were joking, but they were very serious. They were deadpan serious that I was missing the greatest show. They were genuinely annoyed that I wasn't going to it. So I missed the greatest show of all time. We all did.
We all did.
Well, he was great. Oh, no, I didn't go.
All right,
I don't know.
Great Stag cancelled.
Yeah. The new album's taking a different direction.
Yeah.
But does it sometimes frustrate you, John, as well, when you look at Limerick in general and what the siege does for the whole weekend? It's a fucking big, I suppose, turnover of people coming in there to the city. They spend money. The Olans get a lot of it, obviously, but there's other places that benefit as well. So, it would be nice maybe if you did get a few articles on the paper or interviews.
Yeah, we've got into local press. We've got into national press moderately, but I do think we are under-recognised. And I don't I know we're using the siege as a focal point here, and I suppose it is a focal point for the Irish metal scene. Yeah, and it's testament, I suppose, to the work you're doing yourself, Richie, with this podcast. There is a certain amount where people just see it still see it as childish, even in the way they phrase questions or they phrase things about it, but they don't realise how much of how, I suppose, healthy the community is. I'm not going to say everyone's together. I don't think everyone's together. I think that's
not the case.
But I do think there is a lot of fans in Ireland of this type of music. And if you only have to look at how many travel en masse to festivals in Europe every summer from Ireland, and how many Ireland flags you see at these festivals. We're not one big happy brotherhood, but it does exist. And I think that then the great unwashed, the unconverted, don't really appreciate us as a group of free thinking, potentially educated, don't have to be educated, but people, human beings. They seem to think that we are waiting to evolve to the latest Garrett Brooks album, or has he had a latest album? I don't know. That our musical taste is devolved compared to theirs. Yeah, and that is, I don't know how you get beyond that, because I've had that conversation with doctors, engineers, friends of mine. We've all had that conversation at a wedding about the music you're into with somebody, and there is that slight would you look at him? He likes the heavy metal. He likes that. So I don't know. I think Ireland is the slowest country to get beyond that. I don't think England has that problem. I don't know what it is about Ireland. It might be just the Catholic guilt, the hangover from the church. That
could be a size thing as well. I always find, we'll say, even in example with the UK, where bands can tour more and do it more often, so people are seeing bands come through more, that it's it will spread to enough of a thing that when you're in Ireland, it's oh, I know a guy that's really into metal, but he could just love Thin Lizzy, but you're talking to him. That's the closest kind of you know, the 5 points of separation kind of thing. That's the closest that he's after getting.
Yeah.
Whereas, like,
do we need them though? That's what I'm going to get to. Like, as in, do we like do we need to be acknowledged by these mainstream media platforms? I don't think so. I used to kind of want that, and like on a crankier day,
I think we all did at some stage. You're right.
But I think
like the tokenistic call, like to go on the radio and stuff like this is fine, but you're literally always starting from, I suppose, below zero with these people. You're starting from negative, trying to build them up to the fact, okay, right, like I'm a competent human being. I am going around killing people with an axe. And why is the music so angry? I was like, well, it's not all angry. It's just the delivery might be considered angry. And it's like, why are they always singing about, like, you know, evil stuff? And I said, they don't all, like, you know, it's not all about evil stuff, you know, as in, like, it's as complex as you like. And in fact, most of the pop industry just sells, you know, sex and buying cars and stuff, you know, like there's at least there's a bit more depth of field in this genre of music. But like, having said that, like, I think we'll have a huge crowd. Def Leppard and Motley Crue are going to come next summer. I know that they're very much on the mainstream side, but that will sell. Iron Maiden nearly sold out. All these things. What I do worry about is the bands coming through, the next generations of bands. I know that band Avenged Sevenfold were kind of you know, tipped to be that next one, but they seem to be gone. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. So I worry, like, will it continue, or on the big stadium level, or will it actually go back to I suppose, Richie, and I'm not comment on your age here, but you'd remember, apparently there was a point in the 90s where it did go completely underground, essentially, as a genre, and like club shows were smaller, everything like that, and then it exploded again towards us when new metal came around, I guess. I'm gone off on a huge tangent there.
I suppose one thing what you said there about we're not all together, that like it just I know this is a bit of a tangent too, but like the bands like that can sell out, like Metallica can sell out Slain, or, you know, Motley Crue, come Iron Maiden, you know, who buys their tickets? But, you know, there's enough metalheads in Ireland, you know. Surely, like, you know, you should never be playing to just other bands when you play local gigs, and I think that's the problem. As well, where it just, and I don't know if that's a whole kind of, it comes in waves where it gets big and down and whatever.
I don't think this is talked about, Steve. There's way too big of a tribute culture in Ireland, and I'm guilty of putting on tributes.
That is so fucking horrendously true. Like,
there's so Dolan's in Limerick, and Record Room and Pharmacia. They're three venues that do original music. Now, the latter two have only come on stream in the last 5 years. Record Room in the last 2-3, and but there's loads of other venues in Limerick, but they all do tributes and covers. And when I do a tribute gig, I'm guaranteed that it's going to sell well. And that's it. I love, because I love going off on anecdotes. We had Therapy in town there last two weeks ago, and I was in the smoking area about 6 p.m. just standing around. There's always that kind of hour where you don't know what to do. You're just kind of like, oh, I've everything done. And this guy was kind of I could see him looking at me, and he looked a little bit alternative. And he was waiting to ask me a question. So I went, "Are you all right?" And he went, "What's on here tonight?" I went, "Oh, Therapy are on." Therapy. He's like, "Who are they now?" He said, "Oh, I went there, like a hard rock band from the north. They're really big. It's actually sold out, so you won't be able to get tickets." He says, "Oh, I won't be going to that anyway. All I want to go to is tribute shows. I came in all the way from," I'm not going to say where he's from in case that identifies him, "all the way from blank to see if there was an old, you know, AC/DC band on, or it was Guns N' Roses or something. But I find that anywhere in Limerick." And I was like, "No, but like, that's on every second night of the week somewhere in Ireland, you know."
It is.
Anybody wasn't interested in it. And we have to acknowledge that there is a Garrett Brook fan version, like, of that. Essentially, they are the Garrett Brook fans of metal. Like, you know, they just want to hear the hits. They don't care. And that's what I'm getting at, Steve, there is, like, if you're trying to tell them that a band is like a sludge band, they're like, "Do they sound like Metallica?" No, they don't. No, well, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I think most venues, as Cypress Hill would be another Cypress Hill. Cypress Avenue. Insane in the member. Yeah, Cypress Avenue again embraced the whole tribute act. They make their money from that. They sell out the whole time. For God is an Astronaut the other night, everybody was hurried out of the venue. There was a Brazilian samba night on.
Yeah.
You know, so it's interesting.
And we're going down a negative path here, but I do think we're in. a kind of a rude state of health as a country. I think Limerick needs more bands. I think Danielle would agree with me there. We kind of seem to have less bands than, even though we've got more gigs, we seem to have less bands. And a lot of the bands are getting older. Not saying that they're retiring, but they're just
Yeah, actually, John, do you find that there's? We were talking about young fans coming up, but do you find young bands coming up, or do you find it's slowing down?
There's one or two doing the rounds. One of them, I'm not going to name, has gone. They're gone away from metal, and they keep telling me that, so they're not doing metal. But then I was only looking there, War of Attrition, who were very new in the Limerick sense. We're kind of like, I suppose, Limerick are like the Ents and Lord of the Rings. You have to be around for like a few hundred years before you're not considered a new band. Like Third Island only got considered not being a new band last week, and they're around nearly a decade. But War of Attrition, they've done more gigs than every other Limerick band this year combined. I actually looked at it. I just went to add them all up. I was like, they've done more gigs. And if anyone's cracking out the calculator, go back and look. They've played Dublin maybe once every 2 months. They've played Belfast. They seem to play everywhere. So they're putting in the graft, and I think that is a way of, refining the band, because they would have said themselves their first kind of gig for us, they were very loose and ready, rough and ready, but they're now like I suppose a confident metal band from Limerick. So that's a good thing, and I wish more bands would do that. We don't have a practice space like Cork does. I don't know if that place is still there.
Yeah, it is.
We really struggle with practice spaces. So unless you know an uncle or an aunt that has an industrial estate, or your neighbours, you live in the middle of nowhere, you'll struggle to find practice spaces in Limerick.
Sure, Tombs used to practice in a shipping container.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Like it was, Alex was telling me that like over the summer, if you're trying to practice in a shipping container, like it gets fucking hot. So they have this big massive shipping container open, and then over the winter, like it's absolutely freezing. So whatever weather it is, it's 100 times that weather inside the shipping container.
They're a band that have come on leaps and bounds, lads.
Yeah, great to see as well.
Really
not as people, like, but as musicality wise, yeah, definitely.
Is the beef still ongoing, Steve? Yeah.
Just time when you gotta just bury the hatchet when you realise like it's swinging down too much.
I can't wait. He's not going to be there on Sunday. Oh, you're getting off on Sunday. Alex is not going to be there on Sunday. So.
He must be abroad. He better be abroad.
Yeah. So that's why you're there, isn't it? So you don't have to actually fight.
It's great Stag or Tombs.
He heard and he realised I've got to get out of Limerick.
And Danielle, have you made a list of bands that you want to see?
I looked at the timetable because I'm going to actually make an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to try and set alarms as well, because there's just been too often where I've been standing in the smoking area just having the chats with everyone, because it's like you just know everyone, like, and you're like, shit, I missed that band. But yeah, no, there's a list of bands sure I want to see, like looking at it there. Obviously Grey Stag and Sharborn are playing before you. I was looking at it and I was like, I want to see them. Hashmaker, want to see Pure Sonic Outcasts. I'm actually probably just going to sit here and list every
no, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing Memoriam again. They were so good the last time they played.
Them and Slug was just...
That was a fucking great gig. Yeah. Oh, Fraught. I haven't seen them before.
Yeah.
Mad to see them. Gather Lost.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
There's a lot of new bands that we haven't had before on this one, which is good.
Yeah.
So.
A Sour band that I've heard so much about.
Who's that, Ev?
I Told Us So.
Oh yeah. Okay, I don't know much about
them. The lads in God Alone know them. I know Kieran from We Come in Pieces did like guest vocals on their album. They're from the UK, aren't they?
They are. They've played here. It's been a few years, but they played here before. They've big links with We Come in Pieces. So
yeah. I know they've played stuff with.
What kind of style do they fall into?
Along the lines of We Come in Pieces, I suppose it'd be more matte rock, matte punk kind of stuff.
Yeah. But anything that I have heard of them sounds absolutely great, and like anyone that kind of knows them is someone that I would respect their band and think that their band is good, and they've done a lot of stuff. So it's kind of like, I feel like it'll be amazing just out of like association kind of thing. Like I feel like they're definitely at a certain level that I know I'm going to like.
I think the lineup this year, even if you look at the way it's running, there's the genre-wise, no band seems to be after a band that's the same genre to a certain extent. Like there's maybe one or two, but the main stage is very schizophrenic in its kind of palette, which is intentional, you know.
I'm delighted, John, you got Damon back again.
Yeah. Nathaniel's a legend.
He's a legend, lovely guy. Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that it's very diverse for this one. Because I've been at every siege. Some sieges I'd be going into it. I don't know if it ever happens to you, but every now and again, my ear would get a little bit tired to metal, and I'd have to switch to I listen to a lot of post punk and a lot of dark wave stuff as well. And the last siege I was in that kind of zone, but I'm very much in a metal listening zone at the moment. Not that I get to see many bands at the siege, which is the greatest curse of all time. But what I do get to see, I'm glad I'll be able to see lots of different things. And I think people are more open to trying new music at the siege. Like they might be going for 4 bands, but they'll go, look, I'm going to go see this band. I've been telling everyone to give that crowd Knifed Out of Existence a go. That could be fairly hilarious.
I actually checked
brilliant. I think they're brilliant, but I just think that a lot of people would be like, what's going on here? There's no guitars.
I checked them up on Instagram, and it's just like a DJ thing.
Yeah.
Well, not DJ, like fucking, I'm sure I'll get killed for that, but like someone has decks or pedals and stuff, and like I saw like 1 or 2 videos and stuff, and I just imagine it being like, do you know that thing, do you know the guy that has the mic and he's just like rubbing it off everything and just
yeah.
Like I'm hoping it's like that, but we'll find out anyway.
It's pure John Quill fodder. That's what it is.
There you go. Shout out there,
messing fodder. Like, yeah.
He once describes the music he likes as he likes music that's just barely held together. It's kind of falling apart at the seams. That you can just it's barely just there. You know, that's what he likes.
So the Metal Cell did a map of what they're going to see, right? So, and no offense to anybody if I leave bands out, but I tried my best. And it's going to be hectic, but I'm going to starting off the day with Unmaker.
1:20.
Yeah, Gather the Lost then.
You know where to go.
Hurricane, War of Attrition at 4. Trench Knife. I'm going to get 20 minutes of War of Attrition, then into Trench Knife. Wild Heat is a band I want to see. And
is that one of...
Yes, up the north.
James's band. Yeah.
It's James has championed them a good bit. Sharborn at 6. Yeah. Then straight across the Strangle Wire at 6:20. Grey Stag at 7. Damham at 7:20. They're starting, but it depends how good the Stag are. You know what I mean? Senzar, I can't wait to see that. Is a fucking amazing album. An amazing album. And 100-Year-Old Man, John, that's going to be so emotional. I'm so glad you got them in. And fittingly enough, Partholon are great pals with them. So that's a nice one there. Both bands will be supporting each other for that. So Memoriam before Partholon, Below the Neck, I Ain't Going Missing. And then probably 10 minutes of Worn Out because I'm sick of them, and I'm pure Sonic Outcast.
That's probably all I'll get as well. Like.
The last time I saw Worn Out, I bruised my ribs and I was in bits for like 3 weeks. So I haven't gone pitting since I was like 21, and I just went, do you know what? I feel like I'm 21 right now. I'm going to go pitting.
Would I be correct in saying that you got hit in the dick during our set?
Yeah. You hit me in the dick as well.
Oh, I did. Yeah, during our set, when I Crowd surf. Yeah. I
picked him up at the end to bring him crowd surfing right at the end. I asked him, was he done? And then he kicked me in the dick by accident. Now,
yeah. I was thinking, I was like, he kicked me in the dick. I was like, that's not how that conversation went. I wish it went like that. But John was like, no, what you said to me was, there's someone here that needs to talk to you. And I was like, a ball of sweat trying to take stuff down. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I literally got lifted up by the tallest man in Ireland. Like carried away so much that like I don't know where you were bringing me, but it was like the whole way back. Grabbed
what band was on?
It was no More Now. We're just finished.
It was finished.
Okay.
It was Templemore Metal Fest.
Yeah, and I had to like grab onto the wood just to like. I climbed myself back through like the wood on the roof, and I accidentally kicked John in the nuts.
Jesus.
Accidentally.
Templemore Metal Fest is in one of the most unsafe beer gardens I've ever seen.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's worth going just for how unsafe you'll feel if it gets lively. You're like,
oh, concrete ground.
Great.
Yeah, concrete ground, but like the whole...
They don't move the picnic benches. There's picnic benches the whole way up the stage. It's uniquely Tipperary.
Very uniquely Tip.
That's brilliant. I want to talk as well, John. I want to bring you back a few years. Has there been any bands that have achieved notoriety on the Siege whilst they've been playing? As in...
Did anyone piss themselves or shit themselves on stage? Is what he's asking.
Literally get turfed out or pissed you off so much.
Oh, is there?
I'd say people going over set times will be the easiest thing to start to say.
We're all good now. No, we're all good now. Liam from Soothsayer in one of his previous bands.
Yes, there it is.
Cautics, yeah.
Can you tell that story,
national
please?
incident, but we're all good now. At the time, it didn't go down. It was like really tense. No, it was just. But there's been other stuff. Like,
wait.
No. He went climbing along the front of the, just so the balcony in Dolan's, you all know it, and there is a shelf for wiring. It's just for wiring that goes around the front of it. And this is pre them doing the renovations to do. So that was very much just a shelf for wiring. And so he was climbing on that and walking along, and it was starting to go. It was like starting, and he wasn't conscious of it going. And he would have probably electrocuted the people below him and himself and knocked off the entire power for the venue at the Siege. So it could have been a huge incident. But what I learned from that is you kind of just have to tell people before they go on, look, just not there where the electricity is, please. I understand how,
very diplomatic.
I understand how cool everyone's trying to be and how into the performance you can be.
Super kooky.
But you're not going to beat electricity. Like electricity is going to beat you. You can't be like, oh, I feel like God right now performing. Yeah, Grant. 3,000 volts will sort you out there.
I think there was 11 members in that band.
Oh yeah. It was. You can see why it didn't last very long. Imagine trying to organize a gig with 11 members.
You forget who was in the band. Like you show up in the day and be like, there's supposed to be one more. Like,
forgot the drummers.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ian O'Callaghan from Horse and old, what's it called?
Old Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
Good old Minnie, fucking legend.
Yeah, he taught me that story, man. And
that one was good. What else is? What's his name? Sorry, Barry Skellig. Barry, he's now in Parthenon.
Yeah.
We're going right back to the Bakers days for this one. But Barry, when he I suppose, very much in the nickname "Bag of Cans" Barry, he's very calm now. Is he? Very zen. I know him and his wife lead a very healthy kind of vegan lifestyle, and they're he's very level-headed, but he wasn't level-headed. And he was getting interviewed for there used to be this called Flip It TV. I think it's taken down now, but it used to be called Flip It TV. It was a YouTube channel, and he was incredibly obnoxious on it. But he was like ridiculously drunk. But then he used to get naked all the time while performing, like all the time. And this particular time was less artistic, is the way I'd put it, than previous times. So
wasn't like fleeing Woodstock, put it that way.
We once had to pause a siege for a funeral that was happening when we were in Bakers, because we were doing the siege and there was a funeral happening across the road, and we literally had to stop. This is early days.
And like when they were going past, like,
they were coming out of the church, so we'd been playing for the entire funeral ceremony. They just heard, and you can hear the reverb in that. It's like,
do you remember who it was that was playing? Because that should go on the EPK.
That's a long time ago. You're talking like way back at the start. That's like Siege 1, 2, or 3. Actually, it was 3, I think. Would it have been? I think it might have been raised from the ground or raised to the ground. I don't know if
it's ironic. If it's raised from the ground.
Raised from the ground.
That was.
Oh my god! I only got that.
That's fucking. That's stage shows. That's like y'all fell for that. That was stage show right there. Yeah.
I didn't actually didn't even pick up on that. And then when we moved to, we moved for that one out in UL that everyone is very nostalgic about, and I went to Baker's to put up a little, just because I thought everyone knew. I went to Baker's to put up a note saying we were moved there, and there was a lad outside in the steps with a flag and a cider going, "What's going on here? Why isn't it open?" And I was like, we're out the road, we're out in UL. And did I give him a lift? I think I might have given him a lift. I can't remember exactly, yeah. But that was that one, yeah. And that was the same siege where all there was a burger van, and then ran out of burgers very quickly, so it was just chips. That's all you could have all day.
So it'd be like, vegan friendly siege.
Yeah. There's been loads of been thrown out. I'm not going to name him, but there's a guy that I was talking to. So like we've had more gigs. I'm always on here talking about the siege, but as bad a rep, we've had more gigs this year than I've ever had. I was in like too many gigs, and there was a guy who's been at nearly all of them, and I went, "I'm pretty sure you've been at most sieges too." And he actually said, "I've only missed 4," but his record was, so he'd been at something like, what was it, 19 sieges?
Wow.
And 19. Yeah, my maths is right. 19 sieges. He'd got thrown out of 11 of them. I was like, that has to be a record. Yeah. Yeah. And he said, I agree, I should have been thrown out. He gets mad. But now it's got to the level where the bouncers know him so much that they know he doesn't cause too much hassle, so they just leave him off.
They move him around.
He's earned it.
Yeah. Because that metal stairs, the stairs that goes from downstairs, sorry, that's anyone who's listening here now, if they want to pass the sober test, the bouncers always watch it, is if you can make it from the upstairs to the downstairs on the metal stairs without acting like an absolute idiot. And I swear, lads, watch, because I'm in the merch area. If you just watch people at a certain time in the evening trying to command those stairs, even like the bravest souls like fail miserably on it.
Turning back to talk to people upstairs and just go.
Yeah.
Steve, what are your best memories of the siege?
His best memories of siege. That was great.
Playing it, yeah, that helps.
Easy cop out there, Steve. No, come on.
I was just, it's what, like Danielle was saying, I can't even remember what bands I see, because you just stand in the hallway talking to someone for like 30 minutes or an hour. Everyone, like what we started in 2018, we went to siege in 2019, and just seeing everyone there at one point, I think you really get that sense of community, I think, about it. That's just a real cool. And going to the chicken hut afterward as well. That is a brilliant spot, and I can't wait to go back to that.
Class. Danielle, any particular sieges that you?
Just kind of particular memories here and there. Like
they're a bit blurry, I'd imagine.
Yeah, like from my first siege, I remember. Like I wouldn't have known any Irish bands or anything like that. And I remember seeing Shardborn for the first time and being blown away. Like I never text my dad because he's like not a technical guy at all. And I text my dad being like, I've just seen my new favorite drum. And I couldn't believe like the standard that was there. And I remember I bought a 5 Will Die CD. I think that was the best. But I think like, the sense of community and everything and having the crack is always great. particular kind of bands I remember seeing. Like I remember seeing Crows, I think, for the first time at the Siege,
Right.
and was absolutely blown away with them. But yeah, it's always just everybody's on like another level of like excited and happy, and everybody's got all these like buzzing emotions, I find, at the Siege, which is always really, really nice. And seeing people you haven't seen in a long time.
Yes.
And finding new bands as well. So I'm looking forward there's a good few bands I haven't seen that I'm looking forward to seeing now this weekend. So it's going to be class.
So Evan, you've worked there, you've played there, and you've gone there as a fan. So you've more or less got a 360-degree view of it, dude. So any particular memories?
I think the first Siege that Worn Out played was special for me, just because I think we were playing upstairs at like 2 p.m. and I was going through a fairly like shitty time at the time. And I remember like that gig was like very cathartic, I guess. Like kind of, it was like a catalyst for my brain switching to a positive mental state, I guess. Like it really was that kind of, I don't know. Yeah, it really just kind of put me in such a better place that like straight after that, I was like, whatever shit I was dealing with kind of didn't matter to me anymore, because it was such an early time to be playing that I was kind of being like, does anyone care about us? Does anyone give a shit about anything that we do? And it just kind of showed me that like, if you put enough time and effort into this, you'll get rewards. And apart from that, the last Siege that like working, that was so much fucking fun. That was so much fun. Even the after party and everything was just,
yeah, you were on a great form.
Yeah, I was.
We have to speak about how good Conjurer were at that Siege.
Oh my god!
Don't do it to
I
me.
went in and had that was
oh my
insane.
god!
Like
they were really good,
and it was before the album came out as well. Like so,
yeah.
They one song from the new album. They might have played one that, like, if I'm remembering correctly, anyway. But that was like.
That was insane. I saw him in Brutal Assault, and to compare both performances, the Siege one was just different.
It's just everything kind of aligned on that. I don't know what they were just in the zone for it as well.
Yeah,
and with the last time they played with Ahab, I think they felt a tiny bit rushed, but that's because the headliner was Ahab. So just to give them that bit more space with this one was I don't know, just they really knocked it out of the park.
There was a good camaraderie with him as well, with the fact that Baylor and all them were there. You know, they had a lot of lads there that were rooting for him, you know?
Yeah,
I was devastated I couldn't go. I was like so upset. But I seen them at Damnation last year, and it's probably one of the top 3 performances I've ever seen. They're just... like seeing them indoors, because I've seen them at Bloodstock as well, but seeing them indoors is just a completely different ball game altogether. What they can do, there's just this. I don't even know how to describe the energy that they bring.
They're definitely an indoor band. I don't think, unless it's nighttime, but I think they're even at that, they're an indoor band. Yeah.
Actually, that's Richie. On from your regret, that's my biggest regret of 2019 is I missed Conjure, because I made a deal with the missus that she'll come down and see us at Siege, but she wanted to go to this nice restaurant. She said it was like. Was it 4 or 5 and Conjurers playing? It's like, ugh. I heard it's not that nice though, but I missed him.
Like I've just so many great memories myself, but I mean that scene was hilarious. You would have had to been there to appreciate it. Was there you go. Was staggering between the Casbah and heading to the main stage and meeting Evan and
I knew it was going to have something to do with me.
And Aaron with a fucking whole jar of communion.
Oh yeah,
that just
I ate like
was insane. You were giving it to everybody, like it was. Just,
I was giving out communion, and to be honest, I ate like they came up and were like, we've as a Horrenda as a band have had this like jar of communion that they bought, and like I was doing the gear room with Brian, and he gave me them. He was like, "Oh, hand them out," and I was like, "Yeah." And he came back. He's like, "How much did you hand out?" Because there was fuck all left. I was like, "I ate them all." I just used giving it to other people as a mask. It was like little bits of crackers, because I didn't start drinking till near the very end, until the actual gear room was finished. So I was just starving. Like, so I just kept eating communion wafers at the siege to keep me going. Like, I knew as well as when you're second you started, I was like, "Fuck, it's something that I did." But yeah, communion wafers are good.
But I just remember the first siege, and not knowing hardly anybody.
Compared to now,
just going down there with my mate Timmy and Brian Hare, shout out to them, and getting in touch with John, trying to explain the mission of the podcast, and going, is it okay if we just hand out flyers and stuff? And then slowly the next time it was on, just bringing Mick Carey across to the hotel to interview him with a bat full of cans, and we're cracking open the cans and we're having a chat, and just spiriting people from other bands back and forth, and then just starting to slowly get to know everybody. And it's been an amazing trip, John, and thanks for everything from all of us.
It sounds like you're sending me off to sea. Goodbye. No, cheers, Richie. I appreciate it very much. I really do. Thanks.
Yeah, so that's it. Who am
I looking forward to seeing? I'm looking forward.
Let's
You're not going to see anyone anyway.
Actually going to make an attempt.
No, I'm going to. I was better at the last siege than I was at previous sieges, and it's not like for want of trying. Like, I actually walked towards the door. Who did I want to go see last time? I forget who it was, and I kept talking. I said, I'm going to go see. And I kept walking towards the door, and the door would open, and I'd hear a bit of them, and then somebody would ask me a question, and then I'd get pulled away, and I kept seeing the door open.
It was Elder Druid, was it? No?
Oh, no, I saw Elder Druid. I saw a bit of them. I forget who it was. But then I was like, I'll go in, and they were like, thank you. Good night. Oh, my God. That's happened to me. But I do, O'Neill and Love have been on, they were on the ill-fated, a few bands were on that 2019 COVID cancellation siege. Which was a cool lineup, but they haven't gigged here in a very long time, so it's good that they're doing that. And I'd have a lot of time for the lads in the band as well, as I have a lot of time for everyone in that's on the spot as well. Trying to be amiable here, so I am looking forward to see them. And the same as yourself, Richie, Memoriam as well. Just because I'm an absolutely avid Bolt Thrower fan. I know they're not going to play Bolt Thrower, and I don't discuss Bolt Thrower with them, only small bits, but still having like Carl Willits up on stage singing anything, even if he was just reciting nursery rhymes, is good with me. And they love this sort of thing. They were like on both. We've been talking about it for years about them coming back, even before they did the show here with 10 Ton Slug and Zella Cult. They were going to do the siege, and it just didn't work out because they're always doing festivals. And then it just everything aligned. And big shout out to Frank Healy. Also, he was in Benediction as well, for anyone who's ticking boxes there going, this person. But yeah, he pulled it all together. So I think they'll be cool. And I am very much looking forward to seeing Worn Out and Grey Stag on the big stage. So I don't think we've had Grey Stag for a show in a very long time, so it's good to have you back. And Worn Out, I will sit down and sup tea while watching them this time, rather than
in a different room.
What about merch? Have we got merch coming through?
Yeah, I've actually gone very fancy with the merch, Richie. It's all black though. I didn't get any color variations this time. But I have gone for. I get very upset as a lanky man. I get very upset with blanks. The blanks that people print stuff on. So Gildan always shrinks in the wash if you're tall. If you're not tall, you won't have this problem because it'll cool. So he's holding up sols. Sols are a bit better. You just have to go a size up. So anyone that's buying that is a larger man, always size up in sols. You should, unless you're very in shape. Always size up in.
You're wearing this as a siege, anyway.
Otherwise, it'll shrink on you. I'm telling you that. So I'm printing the hoodies. Sorry, tangent galore here. But the hoodies, I'm using a brand that I bought off a label before. They are 100% the best hoodie you'll ever own, ever. I will stamp that and say it is. They're the best quality.
Zipped or just normal?
It's zipped, yeah, but it's like really thick. I paid like a lot of. I went like for years. I've been like, will I try the premium hoodies? Will I try the premium hoodies?
Did you get six pack?
I said yes. I'm going to try the premium hoodies, but I'm going to let people try these on because they fit. They're kind of slim fit, but they're the best hoodie you'll ever own.
Nice.
Now there you go. Quality wise, obviously, you might like the design. But we did some bad rep hoodies as well. We did some of the bad rep Black Sabbath design hoodies as well.
Oh, class.
Oh, that's nice to know. So will there be one or two variants of the Siege t-shirts or what?
So there's just one design for the Siege t-shirt, one different design for the Siege hoodie, and then there's the bad rep hoodies, and that's it. And I've made sure to get good amounts of sizes in each because the big complaint is we always run out, which is a good thing. But I've made sure to get I made note of the sizes that go the quickest and got a few more of them.
And price range?
I'm never going to change the prices if we can. They're the t-shirts will be 15 quid. The hoodies I'm trying to work out because I haven't actually paid the invoice for them yet. So I have to see what they are, but they won't be. They'll be about 35 probably. Yeah. So and Memoriam, I have Memoriam's merch already. Richie brought it over from. Sorry, not Richie. You're Richie. Frank brought it over during the summer when he was on holidays. He brought it over in his camper van when he was on holidays in Ireland. So they have printed a very patriotic t-shirt.
Yes. It will be purchased.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Terry Adams smoking a
you can wear it to Patrick's Day.
It's so cool that they did that, actually.
It is deadly, yeah. I was sure loads of them have, like, Frank is Irish. His grandparents are Irish. So, and I don't know about Carol. I won't put that on him, but sure, we populated most of England, sure, and America. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Danielle, we've got the Siege coming up, and then the following weekend, Damnation.
Yeah. So, the following weekend, I'm going to see Porcupine Tree in Wembley. I don't know if any of you know who Porcupine Tree is.
You've been plugging them a fair bit, yes.
Steve Wilson's band.
That's it, yeah. So it's busy.
Where are they playing, Danielle?
Where? They're playing in Wembley.
Wembley. So you're going to England twice?
In 1 week, yeah.
You big Brit.
I know. What? Are Porcupine Tree that big they play Wembley?
Yeah,
it's sold out in seconds,
Fucking hell. Mental.
Yeah, massive, yeah.
Okay, so that's it, lads. That's the end of the 200th episode of the Metal Cell podcast. Thanks to Evan, Steve, Daniel, and John for participating. And we shall all meet up Sunday at the Siege. What number is this, John?
This is 26.
Wow, class.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. Thanks everybody for listening, and crucially, support your local metal scene.